But it was Bart Scott and I think another former Jet player on SNY, which is like the Jets' cable home there in New York, laughing at Bill Belichick, who reportedly, and it's been reported so widely by this point, it's fact, reached out to the Jets to gauge their interest in him before taking that UNC job last week. That is something, Mazz.
Well, Bart Scott got it right. He absolutely got it right. It's desperation. And this whole idea that, Bill's going to sit there in Carolina and tell them he's happy to be home. Home, nice to be home, quote unquote. What a load of bullcrap. And those people down there are all too eager to eat it all up. But the fact of the matter is the NFL didn't want Bill, not the other way around. Bill got it ass backwards. Completely ass backwards.
Can I just say, though,
Willie Colon was the other name, though. Go ahead.
I actually give him a little credit for doing this in that he hates them so much, and Bart Scott's right to point out all the times that he's taken shots at Woody Johnson, the organization, all that. He hates the Jets like poison. We know that over the last couple of decades. He actually humbled himself to make that phone call. Now, it's an act of desperation. It's humiliating. Now that this has all gotten out and they've said no to him, and I don't blame them for saying no after everything that he said and done to them. But I do have to give him a little bit of credit that he actually, said oh boy, this might be my last lifeline. Let me make this phone call.
Mike Tannenbaum?
It's pathetic.
Mike, what can you put in a word for me? Oh, my God. The greatest coach in the history of the sport, the legend, the 8-time, work with me, Super Bowl winning head coach who rubbed him in Tannenbaum's nose for a decade. That clown down there, that boob, the guy who put in the call on Spygate that got Bill rung up in the first place. Hey, Mike, do you think you could put in a good word for me? Oh, my goodness.
Because deep down, I think he knows it would be less humiliating to stand in Florham Park with Woody Johnson, who he hates, to take an NFL job than doing what he did last Thursday down in Chapel Hill, sitting with the slack-jawed yokels and his new boss, whose name is literally Bubba, and having to say with a straight face, my first words were, beat Duke. Woo-hoo! He done said beat Duke. He hates our rival like we do. I didn't think it could get sadder. That thing Thursday was...
I think the combination of asking Mike Tannenbaum to put in a word with answering to Bubba, I think that little combination right there, that is, wow. Who would have thought that? And the Jets said no, and they're laughing at you. Play that Damian Woody cut that you just pulled for me, Kev, if you could. They're laughing at you, former Jet and Patriot. Damian Woody, laughing at Bill.
And it was rumored over the course of the weekend, or reported to me over the course of the weekend by Diana Rossini of The Athletic, that Bill Belichick reached out to the New York Jets, his hated New York Jets, after years of ragging on them before getting the UNC job. My assumption, Damian, is that he reached out to somebody he's worked with previously. Mike Tannenbaum was involved in the coaching search, and the Jets seemingly said no. Your reaction to all of this?
Bruh, really? As much as you've just hammered the Jets over the years, completely hammered and laughed at them and everything, you really had the nerve, the gall to reach out to the Jets.
They're laughing at you. They're laughing at you.
He can't even get the words out, Woody. That is awesome.
Oh, my God. That is what a come down for Bill and, let's face it, all his people. Danny, if you've lost the number, 617-779-0985. Seriously.
Danny just painted his boat Carolina Blue.
Yeah, right.
Carolina Blue.
Well, they're laughing at you. Laughing. Now, all that being said, if I were the Jets, I would have done it. So I have two things. One is life lesson, folks. Don't burn bridges. Don't Murray.
Why are you pointing me out here?
Because it worked out for you.
You put the salami sandwich with the onions.
It was onions.
Ultimately, things broke for you.
The station no longer exists.
But don't put onions in the drop ceiling when you don't like the boss, because you never know when it's going to come around and you might want an opportunity, and that's the guy that you're going to have to go through.
That is great.
So don't drop the bologna sandwich and onions in the drop ceiling.
The moral of the story is be careful where you put your onions.
That's right.
But, just think of it. The Jets would be a landing spot for Bill. The Jets are desperate. The Jets can't get it right. The Jets can't figure it out. They just can't. They can't get out of their own way. They have some talent on that roster. And Bill would actually be a fit there. But he was such a colossal dick to that team for 2.5 decades that they couldn't possibly do it and save face. They couldn't. The Jets, as pathetic as they are, couldn't look themselves in a mirror. If they let that guy dump all over them on the field, off the field, in every setting imaginable for 2.5 decades and then give them a job, even the Jets have more self-respect than that. And I still would have done it if I were them. And I'll get to that in a second. But this is if Bill were just a normal human being, and it started really early with that Jets thing. When Parcells gave him the job, Bill didn't want that job. He wanted this job, and the Jets wouldn't let him out of the contract. They had to go to federal court or mediation, and it started there. And, when Bill worked for the Jets for 3 years, I don't think he had a big problem when he was there. It all stemmed from the Jets not letting him out of his contract and the Pats then having to send compensation to get him out of New York. And, Steve Gutman coming out after his press conference and saying, I think we've just seen a man in inner turmoil, whatever that was. Right. Like that whole thing, all right? So like that whole thing. Bill just couldn't get over and get past, and so he just spent the next 2.5 decades eviscerating that organization and that team, and then he expected them to hand him a job. Like, what if at that time you just swallowed it and just took it? I thought I had the right to get out. I thought I had the contract in my favor. Turns out the person who decided that thought something else, and so I'm going to accept the process and let bygones be bygones. And if he had just carried himself that way, and wasn't such a steaming penis for 2.5 decades to that team, if in 2.5 decades he turns around, he needs a job, maybe he has a job. It's just a lesson, Murray. You don't need to put the onions in the drop ceiling.
No, that's true. But sometimes you got to MF someone if you feel like you've been wronged. I mean, there is part of me that understands where Belichick's coming from, but he didn't need to continue to keep piling on. You're going back 20 years. October, he said about the owner on the Manning broadcast, ready, fire, aim.
Yes.
Like, that's not that long ago, so he shouldn't be surprised. He continued it just up until a couple of months ago.
Do you think he's capable of it?
No! Not even close. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Not even close. He is not even close. He's a child. He's a petulant 5-year-old child.
He really is. No, he really is. Like, he does not have it in him to understand that the people sitting opposite the table, across the table, have other interests. He doesn't understand it. That is unbelievable.
That's a great laugh.
It's awesome.
The Jets are laughing at you. Now, if I were the Jets, I would have done it. I still would have done it. Like, I'd say the same thing to them a little bit. Like, okay.
Get over it.
Get over it. Nothing they have done has worked. And I'm here to tell you, nothing they're going to do is going to work either. Short of them turning it over to, like, they are a team that needs to turn everything over to Jim Harbaugh, Bill Belichick, whatever. Like, take it. And that's their only shot. It's got to be a real guy. He's got to be a guy that's bigger than the Jets, bigger than, like, that Nick Saban, take the whole thing over. Because the closer Woody Johnson is and his snot-nosed kid to the thing, it's just not going to work. So if I were the Jets, I would go Bill Belichick there. And if for nothing else other than just sort of like also Mazz, it's like, in some ways, it's kind of, the border war is still on. Stick Bill Belichick in Robert Kraft's face twice a year and in the division.
That would have been fun.
And just see it. What do you have to lose? Because they hired Tannenbaum and his Fakakta website to help him vet the new GM and coach. They're going to bollocks this hire. It's going to be some clown, and it's not going to work. Hire a real guy and turn it over and, try and rewrite history, futz with history, whatever the case may be. Go back. Parcells, Belichick, you had it. You were on the right track. Bring it back. And put Belichick in Kraft's face in the division and see if that motivates Bill or bring something more out of Bill. And just like put the thing in a popcorn machine and just take the lid off and fire. I mean, you know what I mean? You're the Jets. You have nothing to lose. It can't get any worse for you. Do it. I'd still do it.
I felt that way about both New York franchises.
It's a $10 million buyout. They say the Giants don't need Bill like the Jets do.
So you say you'd still do it. So this is the thing. I was thinking about this weekend. Who got this out? Who put this out that he called the Jets? Was it to try to make Bill look bad? Did Bill put it out to try to make the Jets look bad? Or did the Jets have this leak out because they're putting it out there in the ether to their fan base?
Tell me
what do you think about this?
Who had the very first report?
Diana Rossini.
Did she? She was the very first?
Yes.
Yeah, she did. I think the Jets put it out there.
But are they doing it to try to, gauge the interest online with Jets fans?
I mean, she worked at ESPN. Tannenbaum was at ESPN. Then she left and went to The Athletic.
Yeah.
I think it was the Jets. I think the Jets put it out there just to stick it to Bill. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I do.
Because maybe it might not be over. Again, that buyout's just $10 million. Maybe we're going to put this out there to see, well, what do you Jets fans think about this? He's hated us and all of that, so...
I mean, I wouldn't rule that out, I guess. The chances, in other words, if there was a huge swell of support for it. See, I think the Jets actually...
Did it to make him look bad?
Yeah, I do. I think they made him look bad.
Just piling on.
And I do think they gained a little bit of self-respect. I think they gained a little bit of dignity out of it. Like, F you, we're not going to do that. As bad as it's been, we're not bringing you here. F off.
My God.
It was a massive F you to Bill to leak that.
Oh, and
massive.
Throws off at the end of the week. I mean, that Seth Wickersham story.
Awesome.
Oh, my God.
Oh, he's disgusted with the NFL.
Bill is still at it.
Yeah.
He just can't tell the truth. He just can't he just can't show any humility. I got it all clipped and ready to go. I got like 14 million examples. I won't give it to you now. Maybe at some point this week. But it's like, the whopper of all whoppers was Bill leaving for UNC was a giant FU to the NFL.
Ooh.
Only Belichick could get shot down by 32 owners, could get shut out of a job, could have an entire league of men say F off and turn it into, no, it's a giant FU to the NFL. Like, you've got to be kidding me. Kevin, is Bill Belichick ever going to coach in the NFL again? No.
It's pretty close. It's usually Mazz and I that are.
We got to make that louder.
No. It's so sad. It's so sad. I can't stand him at UNC. It's useless at UNC. I also enjoyed late last week and over the weekend all the college football toadies here on the station saying people don't understand how important Alex Barth, Cerrone, two guys I love. But they're chronic college football guys, and Cerrone's a UNC, a North Carolina college guy. So you don't understand how big it is down there, how important it is down there. You just don't get it. They draw 100,000 people to these games down here. In this, the UNC's bigger than the Panthers, and they're trying to tell me this. I got it, guys. NASCAR also draws 100,000. I'm not watching that crap either. It's second city. It's minor league. I don't care what you say or how you shame me, Barthy. I don't care. It is one of the many, many things I love about Boston and Boston sports and everything is that we rightfully don't give two poops about small-time college sports in the South. And that's what college football is. I said it. It's small-time. It's regional. It's second tier. It's minor league. I don't care about it unless the Badgers are in it or Tulane, and then I'll watch. Otherwise, it's for the yokels. And that's where Bill is now, and it does nothing for us. Nothing. 0.0. And I get that all the yokels go to the games down there.
I can't wait until
we
talk about that Wickersham story.
I mean, seriously, the whopper after whopper. He gets shot down by every team in the league, and it turns out every team in the league is some sort of a-hole, and he's disgusted with what the league has become, even though just days before he's groveling with Mike Tannenbaum to give me a look with Woody Johnson. But he's disgusted by what the NFL has become, even though he was on his knees. And he obviously lied to Wickersham. He told Wickersham the Jets were a non-starter.
Right. Yeah.
No, you just got off the phone with Tannenbaum. He said, no, the Jets are a non-starter. So he lied up and down to Wickersham to boot. Oh, that story was embarrassing.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.